Ça va? Traveling Artista. This is one of my personal favorite paintings and the process which I went through to create it. I started with a simple sketchbook drawing, and then I transferred it onto dark UArt paper. Just the hint of what was going on in the drawing. My next step was to choose the colors, and I basically chose a secondary triadic color scheme of purple, orange, and green. I started intuitively over the simple fine charcoal sketch and just decided to have fun with it. This painting was created, about a year ago when I was cleaning off my iPhone from photos and came across the video of me actually doing it. And I thought, why not make a record of this? So here it is. I was standing out on the back deck. The sun was out. The weather was fine. It was spring. I felt great. And I think all of that freedom and emotion and joy just came through on this painting. It was like that creative spirit was just easily flowing through me without my even thinking very much. I kind of used the purples and magentas at the shadow area. And then, I don't know what to do after that. And for some reason, I tried to make a decision to go just a little bit crazy, a little bit creative, a little bit more instinctive. And in that case, the color I chose for the sky behind was a color I do not normally choose. Here, I'm just laying in a more grayed purple tone in order to set the background trees. Bring in a little more of that bright magenta to highlight the tree a little bit more. That helps to bring those foreground trees up. Of course, as you go to the distance, with aerial perspective, the atmosphere between you and the distance will gray and soften the tones in the background. Therefore, you want more contrast and more bright colors, and usually warmer tones, as you come toward the foreground. I should say warmer hues, because tones has to do with the grays. Hues has to do more with the pure color. Here it is. I decided to put in an orange sky. Based on that secondary triadic color scheme, and after getting the trees basically in, it's like, well, which color now do I choose for the sky? The greens or the oranges? I'm glad I chose the orange. Secondary colors are those that are mixed by the two primaries. So if you mix yellow and red, you get orange. If you mix red and blue, you get purple. And if you mix yellow and blue, you get green. So by mixing those colors, those primaries, you get those secondary colors. That's why I call it a secondary color scheme. It's triadic because on your color wheel, those colors, orange, green, and purple, are basically evenly spread out through the classic color wheel. Again, this is based on the classic color wheel, the one that most people use in school and in their art applications. Many of you know that I also use the optical or spectrum or Munsell color wheel, which is slightly different. But this one is just direct, straight ahead. Let's keep it simple. I am layering now over that dark UArt paper with different tones of the orange. Some are darker, some are brighter. The chroma is changing slightly. You really don't want just a flat color. It's more interesting to have variety. And the best way to vary that is by making the color more intense with higher and lower chroma, or lighter or darker within that same color. I decided to ground the trees, haha, kind of set them on the ground. You don't want them floating in space. And then just bringing in some more hints of shape. I love how the dark UArt paper shows through and becomes a nice neutral in the overall scheme of the paper. Just coming in, redefining aspects a little bit more. Man, I was having so much fun with this painting. The reason it was so much fun is that intuition, that creative spirit just seemed to come through me without me almost thinking about it. I'd have a little hint of thought here or there. Maybe I should do this, maybe I should try that. But basically, it was just flowing. Random strokes, varied marks. Some are stroked on the side of the pastel, some are tipped up on the edge, and some are picked at by the tip of the pastel. This is a landscape. Landscapes always look rather random. And it's fun, it's more interesting. Not many details, but here and there, one or two. Pop them in. Keep it varied. That was the important thing. Working in the negative spaces is a great idea, bringing light between the tiny branches of the trees brings interest and an element of abstract design to the painting. A vital aspect of this is keeping these areas irregular. In nature, everything's irregular. If you make it too perfect, it's not going to look natural. Now add in some pop of that orange color. Not too much, just a bit. It's like a stew. You don't want to add too much of the spice to make it work. Just enough. This is the fun part. Finishing up, adding some lines. After I brought in just a hint of grass with that nice green. The purples take up the majority of the painting. Secondary are that orange background colors. And then a hint of the green. If all of your color families are equally represented in the painting, it's not as interesting. A few fun lines here and there, just random, because nature is random, or seemingly so anyway. There, finished. Take a good step back, review it, decide if it needs anything extra. Then prepare it to send off or for show. This one got into the IAPS show and it helped me get into PSA, and I'm so thankful to my collector who purchased it. But again, kinda wish I'd kept this one for myself. Point is, keep painting. You never know when the good ones are going to come. Stay dusty, my friends.